What's up, creative community? Once again, this is Lorenzo from the Coach MC studio, and this is the place where we'll help you to shape unique behavior deliveries and where we'll help you to get recognized in the audition room. And today I'm really excited to have a very special guest on Talks on Acting. It's my man, Ron Derhacopian, a wonderful photographer out of Los Angeles who does great headshots, worked with many stars, and is living in the city of angels and is doing his deeds and fulfilling his passion. And he's such a great and gentle and beautiful demeanor. I've worked with him a couple of months ago when I was in Los Angeles. And since we have a lot of different people here on the creative community side, whether it's an actor, whether it's photographers, all sorts of very interesting creators, I thought having a talk with him, talking about headshots, taking pictures and being really impactful with every image that you display would be like of great value for the acting community, but also for the photographers and for the picture takers out there, because it's photography time pretty much all over the place. And it's such an interesting medium. So let's welcome everybody. Ron, on the show. Thanks for being here, my man.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Absolutely great to have you here. We had such a great session in LA and it happened so fast and so quickly, like many things in entertainment industry. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of the technical aspects and all of that, give us a little insight, walk us through a little bit of, through your life and how you got there to where you are right now.
I started photography in 1980. And it's been a while, yes. Just struggled like everybody else. And finally, I got a break and I started my career that way. I did numerous beauty and cosmetic accounts, advertising. Then I sort of fell into this headshot world, which is quite different.
Yes, quite definitely.
And you have to think differently. I enjoy it a lot. It's a one-on-one kind of a collaboration. I think it's the most wonderful way of photographing people.
Oh, absolutely.
I just love to make people look down at themselves. It's very important. Maybe a little better version of themselves, but mostly themselves.
How did this happen? Was there like an event? Was there a certain experience that you got to know somebody? How did you kind of make that transition from beauty and fashion and modeling into the headshot niche?
It was actually a beauty client, that asked that the CEO of the company was there and they wanted a shot of him. I said, all right, bring him in. Before we shoot the beauty, we'll shoot this guy. I enjoyed it so much. It was just like a face study, basically, to get the best looks out of him. People who are just like regular people, they're extremely nervous. They don't know what to do. Actually, actors are the same. So I had to really dig in and basically understand what he was going through immediately and react to it and get him to be very calm and collected, and we got great shots. So afterwards, I thought about it. I said, this was not a professional. I actually would like to work with non-professionals for a while. So I started my portraits, and transition to headshots was that easy, basically. You go with professionals with headshots, except they're in front of a moving camera. You were there, you saw what happened. It's difficult for an actor to look at a still photographer and react.
Absolutely. This is also the reason we're shooting this episode today, because I think it's so crucial to the acting career, to the acting endeavor, getting that acknowledgement and that recognition. But it's such an overlooked factor in terms of how we get there. Many actors, I find it in Europe, but also in the States, not that much in the States, but mostly over here in Europe, they find it like, well, it's a necessity, right? We have to do it, right? We have to get through this process because we need headshots. Instead of realizing the immense potential that a headshot session can give you, like in terms of discovering yourself, in terms of like maybe, finding new faces, new expressions. I think, still photography, it's still photography. It's still action. You still have to make the transition work, but it just happens slower. It happens in very more precise and very more coincide stations and fields. You have to be very attentive and follow through this process of delivering always something new. I find this is such a very interesting experience to make. And so I was also, when I started as an actor, I was kind of terrified of going to the headshot session, even though, it's something actually, it's beautiful taking pictures, but I really didn't know what to do. and how to put myself in front of this lens, because all of a sudden you had to be focused and still instead of, moving and giving action and dynamic to what you were doing. And so over time, I realized a few things, and maybe we get to talk about that. What I found very, very important when it comes to photography and headshot photography. And I think this is a very valuable contribution for the beginners, but maybe also for the more seasoned actors and professionals, are kind of realizing, oh, I never thought about that. That's an interesting kind of way of looking at headshots and the whole procedure and the whole process. Because if you really trust the person that you have, in front of you, and if you are aware of your tools as well, I think there's always like a very beautiful, potentially a beautiful collaboration and beautiful products that can blossom up from that.
Absolutely. Headshots are, like you said, it's extremely important. I find actors are amazing people that have had experiences in the past that they don't, as far as a headshot is concerned.
Right.
And they freeze, pretty much freeze in front of the camera. What do I do? What do I do? It's another sort of acting still, basically.
Still, yeah.
But the comfort level comes after the first shot.
Yeah.
Right now, our technology allows us to shoot and immediately see it. That is extremely important to me. Mm-hmm. Some photographers don't like to show their clients while they're shooting. I do. I want them to see what they look like.
Why?
Let me put it this way. Everybody thinks they have a good side.
Right.
It's not true. I find, do a face study, all sides, left, right, center, and in between. I would say 85% of the time, the side you thought it was your best side is not. In a still photograph, anyway. That, I believe, makes everybody feel a little bit more confident at that time, because they see what happens. You were the same.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
As seasoned and experienced you are,
of course,
it was, okay, that's right. This looks better than the other. And we started. After that, everything is just fine. It becomes a collaboration more so than I'm in charge, you're my subject. No, none of that. We got to work together to literally come up with something that you can submit and get work with. That's my job.
That's so beautiful, man. It's so beautiful because it, first of all, it starts from a point of collaboration. I've met many photographers and also some stars in the respective field of headshot photography, and they felt, at least like, observing them on set, they came across as people that really didn't care that much how the actor was feeling, if he was comfortable, if he was trusting the whole environment or not. They were just, placing them there and just playing with him, manipulating him more than actually collaborating with him. And sometimes, yeah, I can see why people do that, kind of to get to a certain result. But when I have the feeling as a human being, before being an actor or a performer, as being involved in the process and understanding the culture of the process of that other artist that is collaborating with me, now all of a sudden I have more ideas. I have more openness to the process. I can inject some sparks of my own, and it's a give and take. It's like acting. It's acting as reacting. So now I can react to his impulses, and maybe I throw something in there, and then he can react to that. And now all of a sudden it becomes a movement and has dynamic, and it flies by, right? And in the meantime, you've kind of captured some beautiful moments.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I always say to everybody, we do have a delete button. So if something
don't worry.
is not right, don't worry, you can delete it. And it is true. Because there's nothing you shoot at a session, at least when I do it, is solid gold. There's always changes. We don't like a shirt you wore. Mm-hmm. Boom, let's go change it. That doesn't look right. Makeup wasn't right, so let's redo it. All of these collaborations with everybody. It's not just one person. It's the subject, the actor, myself, makeup and hair, and styling. Everything has to come together.
And plus what you said, like sometimes we assume we have a chocolate side, we have a better side. Sometimes actors assume they know themselves so well. And then now all of a sudden you're showing them like, a different angle of their face, a different angle of their perspective. And they discover something that they've never thought would be there in the first place. And now all of a sudden there is no chocolate side, bad side, good side. It's all sides. It's all showing. It's all telling a story.
Yeah, people look different in different sides. I mean, literally, it's completely a different person. In a moving film, it doesn't show as well as on a still photograph. Actually, it doesn't. You're right.
Right.
Still photograph is where it shows your other side, basically. And the eyes are very important. Eye connection with the camera or the photographer is extremely, extremely important. We did something like smizing, smiling with your eyes.
Mhm.
That's a very difficult look to master. As an actor, I believe that's hard to do.
It is.
Normal people can't do that. Only actors can do that. I've noticed. That usually is one of the best photographs you'll ever have. Like the one that we posted on you.
Mm-hmm.
That was a complete smizing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. Of course, ladies adored that one.
I adore this picture as well. I just loved our session. That's why we're meeting. The pictures that came out were just marvelous, man. I can work with those for quite a while, and they had a huge impact. Everybody I showed those pictures were like, this is amazing. Thank you so much. And it's like, yeah, man, kudos to you, because where you were really able to pull something out of my system, probably what, I've never thought I could do these type of looks in that focused and still relaxed way. Because what I said on my last live session when I talked about, shooting great headshots, is where 95% of all actors fail is that they come unprepared, not in terms of how they look and their skin and if they worked out and if they're all, they slept properly for at least 2 days and maybe not that much of an alcohol consumption going on. But besides that, it's also the mental game plan that you should kind of map out for yourself, that you should set up for yourself. What kind of narrative are you representing right now as an actor? What kind of narrative do you like to convey in the pictures? Do you have like some sort of a little story? It could be loose from where you want to go to where you started, want to transition to. Do you have like little things that you want to incorporate? Like, come up with something. Don't just wait for the photographer to give you just input and feed you with all the informations, because, hey, like the director, the photographer has to wrap his mind around many, many different details and different aspects of the day, right? Even though if it's a one-to-one shooting, there is the lighting involved, there's the makeup, does everything look fine? Do I have everything right here set up on my camera? Is my cropping right? So don't automatically assume that the photographer is going to give you all the input that you're going to need. You should eventually come up with something. And then maybe he comes up with something reacting to what you just brought to the table. And all of a sudden, bada boom, we have that conversation again.
Right. I agree with you. I always say to all my actors, don't do any drastic changes before your shoot. I've had a young lady that came and shot with me, and then literally a week later, her hair was different color and shorter. That headshot went out the door right there. And she came back and we did it again. Don't do that. That's not good. That's detrimental to you.
Very good advice. That's a very good advice right there.
So, but yes, you have to talk to your agent, in my opinion. The agents want certain things. You satisfy that, but then you bring more into the photo shoot. Because I have noticed more often than not that the same agent that told us to do 4 looks specific uses the ones that myself and the actor came up with. Nothing more drastic. It was cleaner look. They ask for confusing backgrounds, like something that is blurry in the back and it's so busy. I've found solid color backgrounds are the most precise way of showing somebody off. There's something in the background and it's buzzing around. It's right. To me, it just confuses my eyes.
Yeah, it distracts more than it adds. It takes more away than it actually kind of puts into.
And whatever lighting you're using, it doesn't matter at that point because no one's looking at the actor. They're all looking at the background. Yeah, I started just doing simple backgrounds, solid colors. It's been a fantastic ride to do that. And I know my actors are getting work. I'm not changing anything. I want to tell you.
Of course not. That's your key. You found your key.
Pretty much, yeah.
Was there somebody like guiding you along the way, or did you pretty much just teach all this stuff to yourself? Like, of course, you had your photography background, your experience and all that. But like you said, I mean, beauty and fashion and style is something completely else. You know, if you compare it to headshots, where it's actually the opposite. You kind of have to undress, unmask, uncharge the whole product and see it as naked as possible, you know, through the eyes and into the core, right? So was there somebody like giving you some advice, some tips?
Yes, I had a teacher in my college. His name is Rick Stedry. This man was the best teacher I've ever had. He taught me how to read people immediately, how to light older man, younger man, and a child. That was one of our practices. And yes, he did tell me where the chin should be, where not, you know, where the eyes should look at, and then you level the eyes in your camera is the most important part of the photographer to do that. As far as the ladies are concerned, I did have a mentor. His name is Matthew Ralston, very famous fashion, beauty, amazing director. I learned a lot from that man, how to shoot a woman, because it's extremely difficult to shoot a lady really good, to the point that they look at themselves and say, okay, I get this. It's an immediate connection. That's what I learned from these two people. Lighting, of course, how to light people. Pretty much that's it. And I started practicing and practicing. Everything had to do with how much I practiced. Test lights, test people. Yeah, finally you get it. You get a click on it. You find your path and you continue on that path. If you divert a little, which I have many times, I find myself coming back to what I knew.
When I'm on set and I see the director, you know, he's creating that creature, that organism with these moving pictures, and he's involving so many different people, you know, the costumes and lighting and the props department and special effects and, you know, the extras, everything, the background, everything needs to be timed, and there needs to be some sort of choreography going on in terms that the protagonist then can shine, right? Coming to headshot photography, where we have a movie in very still moments, you know, just broken up, a scene like kind of fractured in these singular capsules, in these singular cells and blocks. I think you need a lot of patience to kind of go through the whole set and constantly trying to pull out the best product, block for block, cell for cell, until you align it and you have like an organism, a real body that you can present and work with.
I'm not that kind of a photographer to pose somebody definitely has to be this pose. No, there is no such thing. Well, however people look the best is my goal. I found that if you give freedom to the actor, I get a lot more out of them within the 2.5, 3 hours, whatever we shoot, than I would ever hope for if I was very rigid in certain posing or even lighting. Everything must be loose, in my opinion. If you loosen it up, everything will look good. Yeah.
Do you usually talk with your clients before on the phone? Do you get like to know them, or is it mixed, or how does it usually work?
I do talk to the clients, of course. Nowadays, everything is an email or texting back and forth, but then I can't stand that, by the way, you guys. I'd rather pick up the phone and ask 2 or 3 questions, then I'll know what I'm about to get. You and I, we actually spoke on the phone, but I have people who just, you know, go through my website and book me through the website. Then I have to get back in touch with them. I said, let's call each other and talk. 5 minutes, not even 3 minutes. I find that that is, for me at least, I will understand a person's needs and also the character they are. I get a vibe out of it. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Then in my head, I can plan things for that client. So yes, I'd like to talk to people. Absolutely. My guideline is literally bring more than you think you're going to need. The ones that you think is the ugliest thing you've ever had, bring them over. Because a sliver of it in a shot to show, we might use that. I've had people who never wore hats, they brought their hat with them. And that's a no-no, by the way, on several occasions of acting. Don't put a hat on, right? While you're doing your. At some point of the shoot, I like to give the actor something extra for themselves. So I will shoot 1 or 2 other things with their favorite hat on or something. They don't have to use it for acting. They use it for themselves. But I tell you, I've seen them on the acting board. with their hat on, the ones that I've shot. Agent liked them. I would say, do that. Bring everything. Move into my studio, literally, because you'll never know what we're going to pick out. Very important, in my opinion, to bring hangers with you. Usually people put t-shirts all like bunched up in a suitcase and they bring it in. You're going to work, basically. That's work.
So precious.
It is work. It is important as a job that you're acting on, basically. Cancellations are rare, but it happens. But if you don't respect that, basically, and you want to cancel it and reschedule twice, 3 times, kills the creativity or the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it kills the spark a little bit, right?
Spark.
You have to always kind of reignite the fuse, and then at a certain point, it doesn't really work. Creative community out there. If you're just starting and headshots, you're still not totally acquainted with, I mean, let's give you a few fundamentals of the things that you by all means should avoid. Do you have like some personal absolute no-goes in terms of don't do that before headshots?
Yes. Lots of print on the shirt or t-shirts. Okay, that's one. Jewelry is okay, but not a statement.
Right.
You don't want to do a statement.
Right. No status symbols and not too much ornamentation going on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Too big of a hoops on a lady, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not you. And most important, it's a no-no. It really is a no-no not to have a makeup artist. Even men need makeup.
Most importantly, men, because I mean, girls, in a way, they know how to do it, but we don't. Usually we don't.
Every skin has different colors on each side, all around. All makeup does is gets it all nice and even color. Very important, because in post-production, you don't want to touch that face too much because then it doesn't look like you. It looks like Photoshop to hell.
Right.
You don't want to do that. Those would be my best guess.
It's like driving a Ferrari and not being able to afford the gasoline, like not having a makeup artist. It's like the last touch, right? Okay, the Ferrari is expensive, but the gasoline you need to kind of drive that thing, to kind of propel that thing forward, to let the engine ride, right? You need a makeup artist, even though if it's for a small project, even though you're starting off, even more so, because people don't know you and you want to show your best shot right from the start. If you're coming into this entertainment industry, they will judge you from day one. And even if you think, I'm a small fish and nobody's kind of paying attention, they do. People in charge, the masters of the universe, they notice everybody in their herd. They know exactly who's the new one, who just got into recently. These are the people who get observed very closely, right?
Right. And it does make a huge difference.
It does.
Whoever you work with, get yourself a makeup artist. Usually photographers have their own people that they trust and they work with. Their lighting and the makeup is kind of coinciding together. You can trust that, not try to get your friend to do your makeup. And that's yeah.
What you just mentioned in the beginning, I think is also very telling in terms of how you tackle your job and how you make sure that you get the best outcome of your product and the best results in terms of quality, is that you have to kind of frame who this person really is and get in touch with that person as quickly as possible and make that person feel comfortable about themselves and about the environment, kind of getting a connection. And sometimes, as a coach, I sometimes feel myself like also I have to get to the psyche first before I can get to the performer. You know what I mean?
Right.
I first have to kind of make sure that certain things are on the same level, that we can trust each other and that I can understand where this creator actually comes from. And by unlocking the psyche, sometimes I get quicker to certain types of results and to the pockets of creativity that person holds, right? But sometimes the ego covers up some treasure chests here and there, and sometimes traumas and as well. Is it difficult to kind of pair that, right? To be the psychiatrist, to loosen up the actor at the same time, to kind of prepare yourself also to kind of capture the essence of the moment and holding control of all these various operations?
Yes, it is quite challenging. I read people pretty fast. Some people come in with an attitude that they know what they want and that's all they want. My opinion on that is if you come in open-minded, you will benefit from it. So that's what I tell them at the beginning. Just keep an open mind. Let me do my thing. You don't like it, we change things around. More often than not, they'll just go with me. But you have to be able to read the person immediately. And there are some people that you just can't help. They will not. They will want what they want, and that's it. So you just got to go with that flow. In essence, they're your client, and clients are always right. Well, and you just give them what they want. You can do suggestions. Certain people don't like to be told what to do. My suggestion is whatever that may be. If you're open-minded, you can try it. And more likely you're gonna like it, and then things will start happening again. But I've had difficult people that I've worked with, and at the end of the shoot, there was hugs, laughter, and it was a good day.
In the end, I think all these inner obstacles and hurdles that we have for ourselves, whether it's our ego, whether it's like a difficult day sometimes, and we're distracted and not fully aware of what we're doing, not fully focused. Sometimes, we have like bad experiences still going on in our heads, whatever it is. I mean, the headshot photographer, the photographer is there to help you. It's a loving relationship in a way, right? You have to bond with the lens, and he's the executor of that perfect moment. There's so much poetry in that. There's so much essence and so much purity in that you can find anywhere on any film set, because simply the context doesn't allow that. The time isn't just there to create that type of relationship. Right. So I always tell my clients, my students, and also myself when I'm going into the headshot session, like, enjoy this. Have like an inner narrative ready. What do you want to play today? What type of style do you like to pander to today? What kind of transitions do you like to include? From where do you want to start and where do you want to arrive? And let's see what he has to give you or she has to give you in terms of kind of impulses and little directions here and there, so you can, kind of correct the course and build a road together, instead of just being there and taking this as the service as it is. Because if it's just a service, of course we can me as a coach as well, I can provide the service. If you don't want to really listen, if you just come here to double check your lines or whatever, I can just provide the service, and that's all good. But when the spirit and the passion is involved, then the culture blossoms up, the art blossoms up, and now we're talking about those unique moments.
It is crucial. It is important to understand we as photographers are your friends. We want you to get something out of this that you can actually send it to your agent. Agent can get you some work. That's all we want. We want your success. So trust us. We kind of know what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
We're here for a reason. Do you think that's like a smart idea to kind of exercise at home as well? Like buy a camera, buy some lighting, and kind of fool around with some poses and some faces for yourself. And so you get acquainted with it.
Absolutely. In the mirror, practice in the mirror. Yeah, exactly. Get a ring light, take some pictures of yourself. I've seen some actors bring their own shot pictures and say, what do you think? Mm-hmm. And some of them are great. I thought that they did a pretty good job because they know themselves. They're very comfortable. And that's a practice to get comfortable in front of a still camera, period. I would say, in addition, when agents nowadays send pictures out, it's no longer 8x10s. You actors out there got to realize they are, on any given edition, there is 1,000 thumbnails that goes to this casting director. And their thumbnails, they're like tiny, comes up on the computer. You can't blow it up. You cannot, nothing. It's that and your name in front of it. If that thumbnail doesn't get the attention of the casting director, you're not going to get that casting. It's period. So I've found that through lighting, pose, and cropping, that's why I crop in the camera. Mm-hmm. I won't let the agents crop it. If you notice, your shots are all cropped already in the camera.
Right.
That's my thing. I mean, that's what I do.
I remember you also saying that on set while we had the session. By the way, I'm just cropping in on a few shots here and there. Just let me do it. Don't worry. It's like, it's all good. Because I want to get a closer.
Right. So that way, it's literally what I see and not what somebody else sees. Because cropping is very important. You can shoot wide and let the actor have it. But the impact of closer, maybe on one side, or cropping a little bit of the head out, right, and the hair. It brings the face so forward that it just changes everything. I would do that. I won't let anybody crop my shots because I'm there. I saw what happened, and that's what I want to give the actor. So, yeah.
Acting community, Ron, thank you so much for sticking with us till the end. If you watched this show till this point, make sure to subscribe to the channel and to leave a comment in the comment section below, and also activate the bell so you get notified every time we grind out a new video. And by all means, if you're happening to stop by in LA, if you're an LA-based actor and you need some new headshots, please check out my man, Ron Derhacopian, a true legend, a magnificent human being, such a gentle and professional and such a noble human spirit. It was so much fun to work with him, and we stayed in touch and made this talk just for you so you can appreciate this value and come in prepared to the next session. You know, waste less time, have better impact right from the start, and create a bigger volume of great pictures, a greater outcome. So make sure to check out his content. We will include all of his links. Make sure to book a nice session with him and call him up if you need great pics. Thank you so much, Ron, for joining the show tonight.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me, and thank you for your kind words. Appreciate it.
Absolutely welcome. It's my honest opinion. So thank you so much, creative community. Once again, also check out my Instagram account. It's the Coach MC, where I have some great headshots going on as well. Also by my man Ron, some art stuff going on as well. And if you want to book me for a coaching session to get ready for the next big upcoming audition, for a show reel, for something that should be included in your portfolio, want to step up your acting game, your mindset game a little bit, or your communicational game, just contact me through my website. It's thecoachmc.studio. Thank you so much, guys. See you next time with the next Talks on Acting. Now you're ready to perform. See you.
Bye.